My name is Tim Montgomery. I'm from a small town, Gaffney, South Carolina, a one high school town. And I was told all my life that I was too small, that I was too dumb, that I was too dark, that I wouldn't amount to anything. My dad loved football. All he used to do is watch football. And I just used to sit around and he used to look at me and talk about football. So I tried out for the football team. But I was born premature, 2 months. And I really couldn't hold any food down. So I weighed 128 pounds when I went to college. And everyone knows track as being a speed, powerful event. And I went out for the football team and I broke my arm 3 times, and I mean, it was just horrible. I went back to my dad and told my dad I wanted to quit. My dad's a Vietnam vet and quitting is not in his blood. And the look on his face was just like, "You quitting?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I cannot take it anymore." So I looked for a different sport, something I couldn't get hurt in, hopefully. So I went out for the track team, and when I went to track practice, the coach looked at me and said, "What event you trying out for, son?" I said, "Something short, maybe the 100 meters." He said, "Huh, I don't think you'll make it in the 100 meters. You just don't have any muscles. But it is tryout, so line up over there, and when you hear the gun go bang, take off." So I went over there with the other kids and closed my eyes and said a little prayer and waited for that gun to go bang. When I opened my eyes, the race was over, and guys was patting me on my back, and I didn't know how I done. I ran the whole race with my eyes closed. It was by the grace of God that I even stayed in my lane. And the coach came over to me and said, I guess I can't judge a book by its cover. And he ended up telling me to come to practice the next day. I ended up breaking the South Carolina 100 meter record. I went undefeated in high school, but still college was not in my vocabulary. It wasn't even in my mind because I never went to class. All I did was hang out, selling drugs at a young age, running from the police with my speed. And one day, the most awfulest thing happened. The police came on the block and everybody ran. And my friend Pepper, he hid his drugs. And when we came back, they was gone. And someone said, we called the guy Old Man Sam, had took him. And it was about $50 worth of drugs. And Pepper was so mad that he walked over and shot him in the head. And I could not believe it. We was all pulled in for questioning. We had to come to court. I had letters from every school, University of Florida, Clemson, everywhere you could name. But why would I leave my town? I didn't even know that it was a town away from my town. I didn't know anything about Florida. I didn't know anything but my town, my street. And I went home. I went up to the judge, and the judge told me, said, "Aren't you Tim Montgomery?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Listen, I don't know if you have any chance of going to college, but you need to get out my town. If I see you again, I'm going to lock you up." I went home and grabbed the first letter that I found, and it was the University of Clemson. I called the coach there, Mark Block, and told him my story. I told him what had happened, and he told me about a junior college in Texas that he would call the coach and see if he would take me. So he called me back and said, "You're lucky, I can get you there. Also, the scholarship's been filled, but if you could pay for your books, then you can go." I took the money I had saved and jumped on the Greyhound and left. When I got there, got on campus, the coach looked at me and said, I introduced myself. "How you doing? Steve Silver. I'm Tim Montgomery." He said, "Are you for real? Is this the guy that Mark Block told me that ran 10:33 in high school?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, I got to see it to believe it. So here I go again, getting judged by the way I looked. And my freshman year, I ended up breaking the world junior record, running 996, becoming the youngest person under 19 to ever run that fast. And I went on from Blaine Junior College to Norfolk State. Got to Norfolk State and made the 96 Olympic team. Made the relay team. We took silver. And then from there on, it was just me and my running. In 2000, took a gold medal in 4x1 in Australia. In 2001, I made one of the biggest mistakes in my life. I let the way people perceive me to look that I have to be bigger, that I have to be stronger. So I got caught up with the Balco. If you ever heard of Balco, that's what Barry Bonds, Jason Giambi, Marion Jones. We all was out there with this doctor, and he gave us steroids. I was only with him for 6 months, and I left him because I just didn't feel right. A year later, I broke the world record. And I sit here today and tell you that I did not take anything the year that I broke the world record. But with my past of admitting that I took something in 2001, erased my 2002 world record. The thing that I had been seeking and striving for, all the hard work I had put in, was erased from a decision. So after making that bad decision, I didn't finish school because I came out early to pursue a professional career. And I really didn't think about letting go of my 8 cars, my $1.2 million house, and just going to get a job or coaching or helping others. All I could think about was how people were going to look at me if I lost all that I had. So I got involved with a check scam for $5 million, and I ended up getting caught on a drug stain with heroin. And I served 4 years. I've been out 7 days and 7 months, but who's counting? And when I got locked up, I looked at my father's face, the person that I was trying to be so successful for, cry for the first time in that courtroom. I made a promise to myself that I would change. Not for someone else, but for myself. And that's where it starts at. It starts with, what does success mean to you? You have to know what it means to you and not to others. Because if you're trying to be successful for someone else, you're going to fail. You have to do it for yourself. You have to believe in yourself. So I'm going over to Lofton High School tomorrow at 1:30. To a place where people say the kids are different. They didn't fit in. And I just can't believe that. I believe that we was all born the same, and that we have some type of ability in us to succeed. So I'm going over there to tell my story, so that if I could touch just one person, I thank God for the message that I have been brought forth to give. It's just been a long journey for me. I couldn't even tell you what prison is like. What you see on TV is 10 times worse than that. And to lose your freedom is 100 times worse than that. So if anyone's out there listening, I hope that you hear this story and you sit down and find out what success means to you. Thank you.